everyone. Welcome back to Football-Oranje, home of Dutch football. Netherlands versus Hungary is the first of two international games over this international period. And it feels weird saying this is the last international break of 2024, the year nearly being over. And then that long drought between November and March without international football. But lots of club football besides, so we'll be busy. But Mike's here, Abdul's here, I'm Michael. And time to talk about the two games over this international break for the Netherlands. And a crunch tie against Hungary's first up. We didn't think it would be this tight in this Nations League group, but a home match is, we need 3 points. We need to win this one. And I'm looking forward to talking to both of you about the squad that's been announced for this and the player choices that have been put in, those have been left out, and our usual antics, really talking about the match preview, what we expect from the game. Just a quick shout out that over this national break, we do match previews for each of the games and usually a post-match stream after each of them. We'll definitely be doing one after the second game, but after this one on Saturday, we won't be doing a post-match, but we'll be doing a match preview the day after. So there's your little replacement. Mike, Abdul, how are you both? And are you looking forward to the Netherlands being back? Again, it doesn't feel long since the last time.
Yeah, we were really anxious for this time, for this international break. Since we did not really play well the first few matches. We won only one match out of four, a win, 2 draws, and a loss, which is not a very good record for Oranje, really. Now, of course, we have a match against Hungary, and this match is a must-win. It's more important than the match against Bosnia. Most likely, if we beat Hungary, we are through. Of course, we were not happy for the performance against Germany. Pretty much both matches, actually. The same thing with Hungary. We had so many. We were criticizing Koeman. We were criticizing the team. Maybe the only match we had a relatively good performance was the first match against Bosnia. But now, of course, it's a must-win. Hopefully, we get the best of the team. We are missing some players, but maybe it's a chance for us to see who can fulfill the places for these players. Simmons, for example, the player that Koeman always rely on big time. We will see who will take his position. We expect some changes. Hopefully, these changes will lead the team to give us a good result and a good show, of course.
Yeah, I think that it wasn't so much last time because we had a win and a draw going into it. But I feel like going into this international break, there's actually some pressure on, especially pressure on Ronald Koeman to get some results. So he needs 2 wins, needs 2 games to get them through the group into the knockout stages. And he's got some choices to make. He's got some players back from injury. There's, Frankie de Jong is the obvious one, but he's also got Tune Koopmeiners and Jurien Timber as well. So that's 2 huge players back from injury and now available to him. So there's question marks all around the pitch of who he's going to pick. But he needs to get it right because anything less than getting out of this group, and then the pressure's going to be on him big time now. I'm not necessarily a fan of him at the moment, but with a certain Mr. Ten Hag now out of a job, there is somebody that could be there to replace him if he does go. So if 2 bad results here and Netherlands got knocked out of the group, the KMBD does have a decision to make there. Did he continue with Koeman or did he go for someone new? And there is a manager there that, with a point to prove, that is now available.
I predict that Ten Hag will be the new Netherlands manager within time. That's my gut feeling. Things can change very quickly in football, but that's where I'm going with it. And even if we don't impress in these two games, maybe we still get out of the group. I wonder whether now Ten Hag is available, the KMVB might act. Now a Dutch manager is available. But that is a conversation, I think, for another show, another time. We've got a game to talk about. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see some graphics come up on screen. If you're listening via an audio platform, you can always head over to YouTube and see what we're talking about, because we need to bring up the squad that Ronald Koeman has selected. So we'll bring that up now, shall we? And lots of talking points within here. Mike, where do you want to start, just while I pull it up?
I think the biggest talking point is Frankie de Jong. I think that him being back in the squad is a major boost in terms of the quality of the midfield. I think it's worth noting that he hasn't been playing well for Barcelona. I think he had the best game I've seen him so far is the one against Real Madrid where he came off the bench and changed the game. But he was heavily criticised for the performance against, I think it was Pilsen in the Champions League. And he was taken off at halftime of the game of the weekend because he got injured again. So his form hasn't been fantastic since he's been back from injury, but he's back in the squad. He does add something that the Netherlands midfield has been lacking in terms of dribbling from the back. So I'm excited to have him back, but I don't think we're yet going to see prime Frankie de Jong in action, and actually think that he might not start this game. I think he might be left out, given the fact that he did have that issue at the weekend, and I think being the home game against Hungary, he might give him a rest for this one and go with Koeman alongside Gravenberg in that midfield.
Yeah, De Jong is probably the biggest plus that we've got to this squad coming into this. I don't think he'll start either. I think he'll come off the bench, maybe play the second game, depending how he gets on. Other things that draw my eye here, Divine Rensch is back in the squad, but with so many right backs. So two of the right backs, Frimpong, Dumfries, does he become an option for left back with Harto being the only one who I would realistically put in that position? Kurt Miners could play midfield with Gravenberg. And then also what draws my eye is the lack of a scoring striker. We've got Weghorst, Xerxes, Brobbey there. Weghorst has been having some moments for Ajax, but hasn't been like regular there, playing every single game. So does he start because he's been the best out of those three? Does Brobbey start because people still think he is the best striker out of those three? There's much more to unpick in here. But Abdul, what draws your eye and what do you see happening?
Well, I would definitely go for Brobbey. He's the best striker we have now. Some people might want Weghorst, but we've seen Weghorst playing much better as a sub when he comes as a sub. So I think Brobbey is the best striker we have now, although he hasn't been scoring much lately, but he did score the last match against Maccabi Tel Aviv. He made an assist also in that match. He made 2 assists actually. So it's not only about scoring, it's also about making assists. He's dynamic. He fits in the 4-3-3 formation. So I think he will be our striker. In the left, it's between Gakpo and Nawalang. And to be honest, I don't know where Koeman will go. Nawalang has been a starter for PSV, so maybe he will be starting since Gakpo is being coming as a sub. But I don't know if Koeman is going to do that. In my opinion, it should be Nawalang, Brobbey, and Malen, of course, since Simmons is injured. And of course, we've never wanted Simmons to play as a right winger. But since he's gone now, he's injured. Hopefully, he gets well soon. I think it's Malen. So we will say Nawalang, Brobbey, Malen. Unless Koeman decides to put Gakpo, of course, in that position. The midfield is pretty much like what you say, Reinders, Koopmeiners, and Gravenberg. This is the logical midfield trio.
Mike, what are you thinking for that front six that Abdul's just selected? Does
midfield
consideration?
Yeah. Cody Gakpo, I can't see him being dropped just because he's been in good form for Liverpool. I know he didn't start. Did he start the last game? But the games before that, I think he had something like 3 goals in his last 4 games. So I think he'll start. I like the fact that Noah Lang's back, and he definitely gives us an option. And even if the option is to move Gakpo centrally again, you've got a front three of Lang, Gakpo through the middle, and then Malen on the right. I can't see him doing that. I think it'll be Gakpo on the left, between Weghorst and Brobbey for middle, and then Malen on the right. I think Malen's earned that. He's been playing well recently for Dortmund, and I think he deserves a chance. And out of that squad, I think he's the only really option for the right wing if you don't put Frimpong out there. So, yeah, I think that Lang will start there. The biggest question mark for me is who starts left back, because I think that as Hato may be the one that it's the obvious choice, but correct me if I'm wrong, but Timber has played for Arsenal at left back so far this season. So true. I think Timber might be put there. So I think it'll be Timber left back, Stefan de Vrij and Van Dijk in the middle, and then Dumfries out on the right.
Yes,
Very
I
good
think he would
calls.
go for Timber as well. Yes.
Yeah, and then Verbruggen in goal. It's just good to have options. There are players that can come in and make an impact. We even mentioned Quentin Timber there, that he could come and he could start games, come off the bench, make an impact. Compared to some of the midfield options we've had lately, where there's been like 2 or 3 players and that's it in midfield. We haven't even got Veerman back to fit yet. But another player to mention was Vifa starting, but he hasn't played too much at Brighton, of course.
Yeah, and there's Van Hecke as well. I think we've all seen the video of him turning up at the training camp, and then the players joking around with him, looking in his pocket, saying, "Oh, where's Erling Haaland?" So, yeah, I mean, he's been brilliant at times for Brighton this season. So it's another excellent centre back option that we've got, and Van de Ven's not there because of injury. So Van Hecke is brought in, and he's a great replacement because he's been playing really well. And then even further down the line, you've still got players like Sven Botman to come back into contention as well. So in terms of defence, Netherlands is stacked. In terms of midfield, Netherlands is stacked. It's just if we can find the perfect pairing for that front three, then you're looking like a very, very, very strong squad that could compete at a World Cup in a few years. So yeah, he just needs to get that front three right, and then we'll be laughing.
Yeah.
Record that clip. Yeah, who are you guys most excited to see over the break? I would like to see Noah Lang put in a good performance, but he still hasn't been sharp enough for PSV for me. That's why I don't think he gets a start, and I think Sakpo will play instead.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see Noah Lang come back to his best form, but he still isn't quite showing it.
I think for me, because he's been out for so long, Koeman is. I think that it's time for him to step up. I think we've not seen him play really well for Netherlands so far. I mean, his crowning moment has been the assist for the goal against Argentina, that quick free kick. That's pretty much the best I've seen from him in a Netherlands shirt. So now he's at Juventus. Now he's a top club where expectations are high. He's got to be the one that steps up and becomes a real key player for the Netherlands. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And Gravenberch as well. I think that last time round, we're all excited about seeing him in midfield, and we got absolutely nothing from him in the 2 games. And then he's gone back to Liverpool and he's playing excellently again. So yeah, it's what can those 2 bring this time round to showcase that they are the 2 options that should start in midfield alongside Reinders going forward, because Reinders is in excellent form for AC Milan. I wouldn't drop him at all from the Netherlands squad. He offers something different. So it's down to Koeman and Gravenberch to show that Frenkie de Jong's not going to have an easy ride to get back into this starting 11.
If the entire midfield is ready, then Frenkie de Jong will have a serious competition. Let's not forget Schouten when he makes a comeback also. So the midfield will be really full of stars, and the Frenkie de Jong being a starter might be in question really.
I seriously think it is. He's got all his fitness doubts, and unless he really goes on a run of, say, 50 games in the next year, I just don't know. I think he'll be in and out of that, because he might have those times where he's out injured for a few weeks, a month. Before international break, it may well lose his starting spot. But I still have that opinion that when he is fit, he's one of the best players in the world and best midfielders in the world. And I don't agree with people that say otherwise. Some people in our comments before, I know everyone's got right to their opinion, but I just don't agree with it that we don't need him and all this. I think him at the best of his powers, it is what sets us apart and makes us a contender to win a major honour.
Yeah. I think the problem with De Jong is that so far nobody's been able to find a perfect partner for him in the midfield. So it's always been sort of him on his own, and you've got to shoehorn somebody like Martin de Roon in there, or Frenkie being in there takes away from whoever's next to him. So we need to find that person that can play to the top of their game alongside Frenkie de Jong, whether that is now Gravenberch, who's now in the form of his life, or Koeman, who can step up. We've got to find that perfect partner, and then that midfield should be among the best in international football, but we just need to see who can make the positions their own.
Yep.
But I don't know if I trust Koeman to to get the best out of them. So that's the problem, at club level. Gravenberch's got Arne Slot, who's having a fantastic time in the Premier League and showcasing the fact that he is probably the best Dutch manager around. And then you've got international break and you've got Ronald Koeman telling you what to do. I think it is a bit of a step down, sadly.
So talk to us about the situation then. Abdul, can you make it a bit clearer for everyone? The Netherlands are on 5 points. Germany are top with 10. But we have 5 with Hungary. And Bosnia we don't necessarily have to worry about here. But what happens if we win? Does that 100% secure it? Or is that not quite the whole story?
It is 100% because it's head-to-head. I don't think the second is decided by goal difference. It's decided by head-to-head in Europe. So if we win, we are through definitely. If we tie, then it depends on the goal difference. But of course, it depends on what is the result if we tie, because we tied in Hungary 1-1. So if we tie 2-2 or so it's better to win, as simple as that. And we should really win. We should not struggle against Hungary. The previous match, we were really bad, even before the red card, we were bad. And this really has to stop, especially when Koeman keeps mentioning that we are playing bad in the first half. He's been saying this pretty much for every match now. So we always start wrong. We need to start right this time and make a good result against Hungary. Winning is the only way that can be guaranteeing us to qualify. Of course, Germany is in the first place. They will not lose the first place now. So it's between us and Hungary. Bosnia is pretty much out. So yeah, we need to win. As simple as that.
Okay. And a win is what we expect, I guess. Should we go to predictions now before we talk about a couple of other things? I think it's going to be a Netherlands win, but not a classic, not a wiping the floor with Hungary. A clean sheet will be good and a nice happy injection, because they seem to have too many of those lately. So I'm going to go. No, I want to hear you two first. But I think we'll win. Cop out.
For the first match, I was expecting 4 or 5-0, depending on the squad we had, and of course for what happened between Hungary and Germany, where they lost 5-0. I think I was expecting something similar, but for our shaky performance lately, I would be happy if we win, of course, and I expect it to be 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go 3-1. I think that I'll have a clean sheet, but yeah, you never know with this side. So I'll just do a comfortable 3-1.
I'm going to go a nervy 2-0, and we'll go like 1-up at some point, try and keep it nice and tight, and then maybe get a late second goal. I think, though, the match against Bosnia, luckily, if we win, like, it doesn't matter. But this group as a whole, we didn't think it would be this close. Like, we didn't think we'd have these situations. We thought it would be neck and neck with Germany. And Germany are very good, one of the best teams in the world. The Netherlands also should be one of the best teams in the world, and it didn't feel like we were really that close to them over this group. But again, this comes down to Koeman, doesn't it? So we're having the same conversations about this, but moving on from the last international break, how do you reflect upon Koeman as the national team manager, and where do you think this goes in the end? Because we kind of predicted this until now. I feel like we've kind of predicted that he would still be the head coach, and we kind of muddle through things. Probably finish second in this group, but it's not inspiring optimism, is it?
Well, many people really, unfortunately, I read on X, and I heard from some fans of Oranje that they hope Oranje loses this match, so Koeman can be sacked. Actually,
We've heard this before, and I never agree with that. I don't understand that as a fan.
Of course, I would never want Oranje to lose. For the sake of changing the coach. I would love for Oranje to win. But logically speaking, this should be the last chance for Koeman, because if Oranje loses this match, the pressure will be very high on him. I don't think he will continue coaching Oranje for the World Cup. Let's not forget the draw for the World Cup qualifier will be in a month from now, December 13th. So the KNVB already should be looking for that competition. If we don't perform well, Koeman might pretty much leave. As you mentioned, Ten Hag is there. Van Nistelrooy is there as well, but of course Ten Hag is the closest one for the job. But again, this is not the time to talk about it. Let's just say this is the last chance for Koeman, and to be honest, he has no excuse. He has a great team. He has good players, world-class players, pretty much in every position. So there is no excuse this time.
Yeah, I would say that I totally agree with those last words. He's always had an excuse recently because he can always just go, oh, Frankie de Jong's not there, or Van Dijk's suspended. For these games, if he's got Frankie de Jong back in the squad, and the players that he's missing are Xavi Simons, who, if you believe what you read on X, most Netherlands fans wouldn't even want in the squad. Isn't there? Van de Ven, he's not a guaranteed starter. So, and Shelton and Veerman aren't, guaranteed starters either. So technically, he's got probably what should be near his strongest 11 going out there for these games. So if he can't win with these players, then it should show the KNVB that he can't win going forward. So you think it would be his last chance if anything goes wrong against Hungary in this game, because, yeah, we can't afford to go into World Cup with lacking confidence and lacking any leadership from the head coach. I think we will win this one, and I think that will save him his job, and I think we'll go into World Cup qualifiers with Koeman. But yeah, if we get a tough group and it's going to be tight, then it's going to be nervy months with him in charge, I think.
Is there a world that we win, say, both these games, or like win one, draw the next, whatever, and he still goes?
That's a good question. I don't think he will leave. I don't think they will sack him. There will be no reason. He did what he was supposed to do. He qualified to the next round. He lost only one match against Germany, which is always okay to lose against Germany, even if you play bad one match or two. But other than that, I don't think they will sack him if he wins the next two matches, unless he decides to leave because he's not good for the job, for example. I don't think this will be the case.
Yeah, I can't see any. If we get through, then I can't see him walking, because technically I don't think he's going to get another job in football. I think he's already said that this is his last job in football. So yeah, he'd be basically retiring himself if he left. It would need to be a case of the KNVB sacking him, and they wouldn't sack him if he got through this group. I think it would need to go out. It would need to basically mess this up big time for him to get sacked. But yeah, the media pressure isn't there. Like, there's nobody asking him in press conferences if he's going to leave. Like, there's nothing like that yet. So I think if, say, against Hungary it was 0-0 or it ended up being 1-1, then the questions might start being asked of him, hopefully by the Dutch media. But the questions aren't there yet, so I don't think it's coming unless it's a big mess up.
I do feel like Dutch clubs and organisations like KNVB, they're likely to kick out media outlets that asking questions like that's kind of attitude they have. So that's probably why they're so frightened to ask a question that really puts them under that pressure. I was going to bring up something else which he's coming under a little bit of pressure for. And that is, the comments that he seems to make before these games, the press conference is always something that's a bit of a talking point. He certainly isn't a boring listen with this kind of stuff, but it's never quite the answer you want to hear. Anthony Malambo, he was very quick to squash why he wasn't in the squad, saying things like when asked, what about this guy, he's playing well for finals and scoring the Champions League, he's saying that Kenneth Taylor's closer, and he even called Kenneth Taylor to sort of praise him and say that he's really happy with his development right now. But no word of Malambo to praise him or anything. And I have to admit, I'm going against what Mike thinks here. I'm probably still listening, but I still think Kenneth Taylor is closer than Anthony Malambo at the moment to Netherlands squad. But it's not by a lot. Not by a lot enough to put it back in the media's face kind of thing. Taylor is doing well for Ajax. He's playing a lot of games for them too. an all-round midfielder. Malambo's more of a 10, I guess. We are calling out for a really good attacking midfielder. Malambo can be that. Is it too early for him? Koeman obviously thinks so, but decided to be quite arrogant in his response to the media. So, yeah, again, in the media, he's just not impressive and not very kind.
I think Milambo is the best attacking midfielder we've had since the retirement of Wesley Sneijder.
But
Seriously,
already today, not in a
yes.
year's time, not 5 years' time, but today.
Today, he is still our best attacking midfielder. We don't have any other attacking midfielders, actually. We tried with Simmons. It was okay, but he wasn't really the perfect player for the job. So I think Milambo should be the perfect player for the job. We saw how he was performing against Benfica. He was man of the match, not only scoring 2 goals, but scoring with fashion, playing in a very, very effective way. I was surprised that Koeman did not include him at all, did not talk about him at all, saying that he needs time. Well, you picked Hato. Hato is only 18. I cannot really see any reason why he was left in the cold. Okay, he is injured now, but I don't think Koeman intended on picking him in the first place.
Does Hato, sorry, not Hato, does Malambo need like almost a full season under his belt to really be considered? Same for Hato, that he's played longer now at club level. People might be always listening to you, Abdul, and thinking, well, Tijani Reinders has played pretty well there. He's not a number 10 really, he's more of an 8, but he has played that position. He's playing for AC Milan, winning a lot of admirers around Europe. I'm not trying to say I agree with Koeman, but I'm just trying to go playing devil's advocate, if you like, for a bit of a discussion here. As to why Malambo is not even close in Koeman's eyes.
Reinders could be a good option as well, but he plays in many places in the midfield, not necessarily an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
Malambo is a classic attacking midfielder. This is the difference. Maybe Koeman intends on using Reinders and he thought there is no need for another attacking midfielder. I don't know, really. I know Koeman is watching him. I know Koeman sees how he performs in the Eredivisie and in the Champions League. But really, I have no answer to this question.
Yeah, I think that from what I gathered from the press conference about what he said about Taylor is it goes in the pecking order. Xavi Simmons isn't there because he's injured, but in the pecking order it currently goes Reinders, Koeman, and then Taylor for the 10 position if Simmons isn't there. And Taylor was one that was very close to being in the squad, and he is doing better for Ajax. He's not the same Taylor that came on against France and got immediately hauled off because he didn't look up to it, but he's getting better. But I think what I've seen from Malambo is he's been the player that I've been wanting to see in the Netherlands for a long time that we don't have. Someone that can do all the things around the box in the tight spaces, burst in, take it around a couple players, take a shot, score. He's like a more technical, better dribbler than a Davy Klaassen. Davy Klaassen's always there to score the goals, but he's not going to dribble past 2 players to get in and take the shot, whereas Malambo can do both. So he's sort of the 10 that I've been waiting for the Netherlands to develop. I want to see him in the squad, and I wish the Netherlands would take a page out of Spain's book. Spain go, okay, this player's good, he's in the squad. It doesn't matter what age he is. Yes. Yamal's 17. He's straight in. He's starting for him. Then Gavi, there are 3 players from Barcelona. It turns 17, 18. They're in the squad already. They don't say, oh, he needs a couple of years to give someone else a go. If you're good enough, you're old enough, and you're in the squad, and you're making us better. So that's what I want the Netherlands to do going forward. It helps that obviously the Spain coach was their under-21s, worked with the youth, and then saw these players coming up, so he knows them. Maybe like Koeman could bring someone in from the under-21s as an assistant just to give him a read on these players. But yeah, it just seemed like a very nonchalant sort of answer from Koeman, just basically dismissing Malambo and saying like, oh, he's not ready yet. When you actually watch the games, you're like, well, he's in the games that he's playing, I'd say at times he's outperforming Quentin Timber in that midfield. So I think he is getting there. So yeah, it might be early now, but I think by the time March comes, if Malambo gets back fit and starts the games until March, the questions might be getting asked a lot more of why isn't this player in the squad if he keeps playing like he did before he got that small injury? Because if you look at Feyenoord's form since he has been injured, it's not been as good as what he was when he was in the team. So, yeah, he's a player that I'm very excited about. The same with there's one that's coming through for AZ at the moment, Keith Smith. He's another one that's a midfielder, attacking midfielder, who's very, very exciting. Who's starting to come into the first team now. So, yeah, going forward in the future, Netherlands have two excellent young midfielders to come in. But yeah, I wish the Netherlands squad wasn't such a, oh, he's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. If he's good enough, get him in and then improve the team.
Yeah, well said. This will be an interesting one to hear in the comments. Particularly on YouTube, leave us a comment down below about what you think the score will be. You predict 11, but also the likes of Malambo. Would he be in your squad now, for example? Mark Abdul, is there anything else you want to bring up today in our match preview for the Netherlands-Hungary game?
Well, it's the last match, as we said. It's the last chance for us to qualify, not the last match. The last chance for us to qualify. We put ourselves in this position, unfortunately. It could have been a lot easier if we defeated Hungary the first match we played in Hungary. But we put ourselves in that position. But there is time to fix this mistake. Hopefully we win. Last chance for Koeman. As we said, no excuses. And I hope we finish the match comfortably. We don't have to fight until the last minute. We have what it takes to win this match comfortably.
One thing that I'll say that will come across as praise for Koeman, and it kind of is that I'm glad he hasn't gone straight back to Memphis because Memphis scored a goal in Brazil. I'm glad he's not straight back in because he hasn't been playing that great for Corinthians. Yes, he's scoring and he's getting assists, but he's not setting the world alight in Brazil, and he keeps getting brought off games. He keeps coming on sub. And I'm also glad that he's not turned around and given David Klaassen his place back in the squad just because he's started scoring goals for Ajax, because he is, to be fair, scoring a lot of goals for Ajax at the moment.
Yeah.
But he's not back in the squad yet. So we've not gone back to that area yet. We'll see if he keeps scoring by the time March comes along, if he gets a recall. But I will say that I'm glad that Koeman is staying away from them two at the moment, just to see what the younger players can do in these games, the Brobbies, the Xerxes, until we start bringing Memphis back in and like David Klaassen back in. Because by the time the World Cup comes around, do I want David Klaassen in the squad? Absolutely not. So there's no point bringing him back in for these games to then get rid of him in the future. Better to go younger now.
No, I agree too. David Klaassen's probably playing at the peak of his powers at the moment, and he won't be getting any better than that. We have got better players, especially better technical players. Thank you, guys. It's been a good chat. Good to be back talking about the Netherlands. Just to remind people, again, no post-match stream after the Hungary game, but we are back the day after with a preview of the Bosnia match, where we'll, of course, dissect the Hungary game and our thoughts and feelings towards it. So catch us again then. Of course, you'll listen to us on YouTube or on one of our audio platforms. But if you can give us a like, subscribe to Football-Oranje if you're new on YouTube. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. You can find much more over on football-oranje.com and on our Twitter. See you guys. Hope you enjoy the game.